Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
Welcome to Connecting the Dots, the deep dive, where we break down the tech news and, figure out how it actually impacts your daily life. I'm Alex, and this is Morgan, broadcasting straight from Snarful Solutions Group in Sacramento, California.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. It is Thursday, July 9th, 2026. And whether you're commuting or just grabbing your morning coffee, we are really thrilled you're here.
Absolutely. Our whole mission with this deep dive is to cut through the noise. We take all these heavy articles and updates, and we give you the actual why and how behind the tech that's shaping your routine.
Right, so you can just walk away feeling genuinely informed. But before we jump into the heavy-hitting stuff, let's just quickly brief you on what's going on out there today.
Yeah, looking out the window, Sacramento is definitely treating us to a lot of sunshine today.
Oh, yeah.
We're looking at a high of 95 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's a hot one, with just a light wind blowing, maybe 2 to 8 miles per hour.
Nice and breezy at least. But, if you've got travel plans or family out of state, definitely keep an eye out. There are 218 active weather alerts across the U.S. right now.
Wow, 218.
Yeah, it's a lot. You'll definitely want to check weather.gov to stay updated on all that.
Good call. And moving over to the financial markets, it is a very green day across the board.
We love to see that.
Right. The Dow closed up 44.80. The S&P 500 gained 11.01. And if you're holding crypto, Bitcoin saw a really solid jump. It's up 391.46.
Nice little upward momentum there.
I will always take the green arrows. Less exciting news for the baseball fans out there today, though.
Yeah, kind of a rough Wednesday on the diamond.
Definitely. The SF Giants took a pretty tough loss, 0-10 against the Blue Jays. And the Athletics also struggled, dropping their game 1-6 against the Tigers.
Just, not the best day for the local bats.
No, not at all. But hey, let's get into our first sponsor. Today's episode is brought to you by Strong Coffee, the premium instant coffee that tastes like a traditional brew, but is packed with 15 grams of protein, MCTs, and adaptogens like ashwagandha. Get clean, sustained energy without the jitters. Use promo code SNARFL for 20% off at strongcoffeecompany.com.
All right, so let's unpack this Morningstar Tech article report. We've got 3 massive developments today.
Yeah, and these are things fundamentally shifting the digital tools you use. I mean, both in the office and just sitting in your living room.
Exactly. So let's look closer at our first story. It's a major release from the company formerly known as XAI, right? They've officially rebranded as SpaceXAI.
Oh, right, the rebrand.
Yeah, and they just launched Grok 4.5.
Yeah.
And this isn't just like a minor patch or some incremental update.
No, because this model was built in direct partnership with Cursor, right?
Yes.
Which is that AI coding startup that SpaceXAI just acquired for, what was it, a staggering $60 billion.
$60 billion. Yeah, it's an eye-watering price tag.
Yeah.
But Grok 4.5 is actually the first tangible product to, justify that acquisition.
So what makes it so special compared to the last version?
Well, they aren't trying to win those arbitrary benchmark leaderboards with this release. The engineering focus is entirely on complex, long-running tasks.
Right, like the heavy-duty enterprise workflow.
Exactly. Coding. And what the industry is calling agentic work.
Let's break down that term for a second. Agentic gets thrown around a lot in tech spaces right now.
It really does.
And when we talk about an AI agent, we aren't just talking about a chatbot answering a trivia question.
No, not at all.
Agentic work means you give the AI a high-level goal, and it autonomously goes off, breaks that goal down into steps, writes the code, tests it.
Finds its own errors.
Right. It realizes it made a mistake, fixes it, and comes back with a finished product.
That is the core distinction. It operates with a real level of autonomy. I was actually looking through the release notes, and there is a brilliant demonstration of this.
Oh, the solar system one.
Yes. From a single text prompt, Grok 4.5 built a fully functional 3D interactive simulation of the solar system using 3.js.
Which is wild. For anyone not deep in the web development weeds, 3.js is a really complex JavaScript library. It's used to render 3D graphics in a web browser.
Right, so it's not just spitting out text.
Exactly. The AI is writing the complex mathematical rendering logic and, spatial positioning without any human handholding.
But the cool thing is you don't even have to be a software engineer to use this.
Right. It's fully integrated into Grok Build, the SpaceXAI console,
yeah,
and, of course, Cursor.
Yeah, and you can use it to build incredibly dense Excel models that pull live research from the web.
Oh, and I saw it even leaves little digital sticky notes for you in the spreadsheet to explain the formulas it used.
Yeah. It adds this really nice human touch to a totally automated process. But honestly, the real story here, the reason enterprise IT directors are paying such close attention today, is the economics.
Always comes down to the money.
It really does. Grok 4.5 is priced extremely aggressively. It costs just $2 per million input tokens and $6 per million output tokens.
Okay, before we talk about how cheap that actually is, let's just ground the concept of a token for you listening. We aren't talking about, like, arcade coins here.
Right, yeah. Think of a token as roughly a syllable or, a piece of a word. It's the fundamental unit of data the AI processes.
So input tokens are the instructions you feed into the model, and output tokens are the responses it generates.
Exactly. If you ask an AI to write a short email, you might use a few hundred tokens.
But if you're doing agentic work, say, asking an AI to read your company's entire software code base to find a security flaw, you are burning through millions of tokens in a matter of minutes.
Right, so the cost adds up incredibly fast at an enterprise scale.
So to put Grok 4.5's pricing in perspective, it is undercutting the premium models from competitors like OpenAI and Anthropic by a massive margin.
Huge margin. Plus, it's highly efficient. It uses about half the tokens to complete the exact same software engineering tasks.
Half. That's significant.
Yeah. Independent benchmarking from artificial analysis shows that Grok 4.5 costs about 49 cents per completed task.
Wow.
That makes it nearly 90% cheaper per task compared to the models currently sitting ahead of it on the intelligence leaderboards.
90%. So if you're a working professional trying to wrap your head around what this means for your daily workflow, think about it like this.
Let's hear it.
Grok 4.5 isn't the Formula One race car built to break absolute speed records and win the AI leaderboards.
Right.
It is a highly fuel-efficient hybrid commuter car. It's built for the daily enterprise grind. It gets you to the office reliably day in and day out for literally pennies on the dollar.
I like that. It represents the Pareto frontier of performance versus cost. I mean, if you're deploying AI across hundreds of developers, a 90% cost reduction entirely changes the financial calculus of your whole engineering department.
Because suddenly you can afford to have AI agents running 24/7 in the background.
Exactly.
Hold on, though. I have to wonder about the long-term reality of this.
Okay, what do you mean?
Well, if Grok is 90% cheaper, but technically scores slightly lower on the benchmarks than the absolute top-tier models, aren't we just paying for cheap mistakes?
That's a fair question.
Like, if it takes a developer 3 tries to fix a bug with Grok, do we really save any money compared to just fixing it perfectly on the first try with a slightly more expensive model?
Yeah, that is actually the multi-million-dollar debate happening in the developer community right now.
I bet.
They actually have a term for this. They call it the vibes of a model.
The vibes.
Yeah, it refers to the felt reliability when you're using it for real work rather than just, testing it in a sterile environment. And this is exactly why SpaceXAI bought Cursor.
Oh, because Cursor has all that user data.
Precisely. Cursor has a massive stream of user interaction data showing literally how expert human engineers write, edit, delete, and debug code.
I see.
And they fed all of that human workflow data directly into Grok 4.5's training.
Okay, so the bet SpaceXAI is making is that by training the AI on how humans actually solve problems, the model will just intuitively get it right on the first try more often in real-world scenarios.
Exactly. Even if it doesn't ace some standardized coding test.
It's a massive strategic bet. Though for our listeners tuning in from the European Union, you will have to wait just a little bit longer to test those vibes yourself.
Yeah, unfortunately, Grok 4.5 won't be available in the EU until mid-July just due to, regional regulatory rollouts.
Still, we are seeing the economics of building software behind the scenes change dramatically. But our next story is about a massive leap in how we actually converse with that software.
Yeah, on the screen, or rather, through the speaker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because OpenAI just launched GPT-Live, which is an entirely new generation of voice models powering ChatGPT voice.
And the technological breakthrough powering this is something called a full duplex architecture.
Let's break that down, because it fundamentally alters human-computer interaction.
Yeah.
How did the older voice models work compared to this new system?
Well, the previous generation of voice AI relied on a cascaded system.
Meaning?
It was a linear, step-by-step process. You would speak, and a separate model would transcribe your audio into text. Then, the main language model would read that text, figure out an answer, and generate a text reply.
Right.
And finally, a third model would convert that text back into synthetic audio.
Oh, so that explains the weird, 3-second pause every time you asked a question. It was essentially playing a game of telephone with itself.
Exactly. It was rigid, like talking on an old walkie-talkie where only one person can speak at a time.
But full duplex changes that.
Yeah, full duplex means the model processes audio natively. It takes in sound waves and outputs sound waves simultaneously.
Without translating to text first.
Right. It doesn't need to transcribe anything to understand you. It can process your input while generating its own output, making micro decisions multiple times a second.
So it completely removes those awkward turn-based pauses.
Yes, entirely.
If you are talking, it will actively say, or yeah, to show it's tracking with you.
Which is slightly spooky, but amazing.
Right. And if you need a second to gather your thoughts, it recognizes the hesitation in your breathing and just pauses with you. I actually watched a clip from the press demo.
Oh, the translation one.
Yes. The presenter was speaking in English, and the AI was literally doing live simultaneous translation into Hindi while the presenter was still finishing their sentence.
Doing that requires immense computational power without any lag. And the architecture gets really clever here. OpenAI essentially decoupled the voice from the deep reasoning brain.
How does that work?
So GPT-Live is entirely focused on the surface interaction, the tone, the flow, the active listening. But when you ask it to do something complex, like search the live web or do heavy math, it quietly delegates that task to GPT 5.5 in the background.
Oh, so it keeps the conversation flowing smoothly while the heavy lifting happens behind the scenes?
Exactly.
It's like having an overly efficient executive assistant in an earpiece.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. Like they are making polite, totally natural small talk with you about your commute while simultaneously sprinting to the filing cabinet in the background to find the exact spreadsheet you just asked for.
And they're bringing this capability to everyone. GPT-Live 1 is rolling out for paid users, and a lighter version, GPT-Live 1 Mini, is rolling out for free users.
Nice.
They're also bridging the audio-visual gap by introducing visual cards. So if you ask the voice assistant about the weather in Sacramento or the price of Bitcoin, it pops up a clean visual graphic on your screen while it continues to talk to you.
Very convenient.
Yeah, and they've heavily emphasized that strict safety and parental controls are built in, including, age-appropriate behavior constraints.
I have to admit, though, I find the implications of this a little unnerving.
Really? How come?
Well, the demos show a model that sounds flawlessly human. It uses filler words, it breathes, it laughs at jokes.
Yeah, it's uncanny.
But if the AI sounds this remarkably natural, doesn't that make its inevitable mistakes, its hallucinations, much more dangerous?
Oh, I see where you're going.
Because we are biologically wired to trust a human-sounding voice. If it confidently tells you something factually incorrect, but uses the exact cadence and warmth of a trusted friend, we're far more likely to believe it than if we just read it on a screen.
Yeah, that is a major psychological hurdle we're about to face as a society. I was actually looking at an Oxford study recently that found 38% of people are already turning to text-based chatbots for relationship advice and emotional support.
38%.
Yeah. The term the researchers use is emotional reliance. When a system sounds this natural and empathetic, users naturally lower their guard.
Makes sense.
And OpenAI's own internal system card explicitly acknowledges this risk. They had dedicated experts red team the model specifically for voice-unique risks, like users forming unhealthy emotional attachments to the AI.
It's a profound shift. It's no longer just a utility. It feels like a companion.
It really does, and that introduces a fascinating tension in the tech world right now.
How so?
Because while these AI models are becoming our trusted conversational companions in our living rooms on the global stage, they are increasingly being viewed and heavily locked down as guarded strategic assets.
Which brings us to our final story today, focusing on the escalating U.S.-China AI tensions. And just to be absolutely clear with you, our listener, we are strictly looking at the technical facts and supply chain impacts reported today.
Exactly.
We aren't taking any political sides here. We just want to explore how these geopolitical moves actually impact the software you rely on.
And the moves happening on the ground are stark. The U.S. government recently restricted international access to Anthropic's Mythos model and OpenAI's GPT 5.6.
And China is doing the same.
Yeah, in a parallel move, China's Ministry of Commerce is actively holding meetings to restrict international access to their top advanced models from major labs like ZAI, Alibaba, and ByteDance.
So we are seeing digital walls go up on both sides. But what is the actual catalyst for this?
Well, on the U.S. side, they restricted Mythos due to major software vulnerability concerns.
meaning the model itself was flawed.
More like it's too good. The fear was that the model was so incredibly advanced at writing and analyzing code, it could easily be used by bad actors to find and exploit software vulnerabilities way faster than traditional cybersecurity systems could catch them.
Oh, wow.
They literally locked the model down for 3 weeks just so major corporations had time to harden their cyber defenses.
That is intense.
Yeah.
And this geopolitical fracturing heavily impacts the tech sector and specifically the average American IT department.
Yeah, which might sound surprising to some people.
But Chinese open-weight models like DeepSeek, Qwen, and GLM, they're actually incredibly popular in the United States.
Right.
In fact, over 30% of the tokens used on these Chinese models originate from the U.S.
Right. Let's clarify the term open weight really quick because it's slightly different from traditional open source software, right?
Yes, it is. With fully open source software, you can see everything, the training data, the underlying code, how it was built.
Right.
Open weight means the developers are keeping the original training data a secret, but they are releasing the finished, trained neural network, the weights, for anyone to download and use.
Got it. So a company can take that AI brain, put it on their own local server, and just run it independently.
Exactly, which explains why American IT departments love them. If you run a local open weight model, you don't have to pay expensive API fees per token to OpenAI or Google.
Huge cost savings.
And more importantly, your proprietary company data never leaves your building. It is a massive cost saver and a privacy shield.
Makes total sense. But if access to those top-tier international open-weight models gets cut off by trade restrictions, American IT teams are going to be in a really tough spot.
They will. They'll have to scramble to find domestic open-weight alternatives that offer the same performance, like Google's Gemma or NVIDIA's Nematron.
So if your IT department is running one of these models right now to keep your company's budget down, they might be looking at a very stressful week.
Seriously. It really feels like we're entering a digital Cold War, and developers are just caught in the middle of a fractured tech ecosystem.
Yeah, and the tensions are bleeding directly into corporate policies, too. Just this week, Alibaba banned its workers from using any Anthropic tools after a Chinese ministry issued a warning about a potential security backdoor inside Claude code.
It highlights the fragility of the global tech supply chain. We are so used to software being borderless.
Completely.
If a great tool is built in Europe, Asia, or the Americas, developers simply download it and integrate it. But when that software becomes intelligent enough to be classified as a national security asset, those borders snap right back into place.
It is a lot to process, and it really shows the whiplash of this industry. I mean, we went from analyzing the token economics of a single coding task to discussing global trade restrictions in the span of just 20 minutes.
It's wild. Before we wrap up, a quick thanks to Old Glory, an iconic music and sports fan merch store, perfect for the techie in your life. Use promo code SNARFL for 15% off at oldglory.com.
All right, let's bring this all together. What the deep dive today makes incredibly clear is how rapidly your professional and personal lives are shifting.
Absolutely. At the office, we are seeing the plunging costs of building software with hyper-efficient tools like Grok 4.5. It is fundamentally changing enterprise economics by prioritizing the daily grind over flashy benchmark scores.
And in your personal life, you're about to experience a massive shift in how you interact with your devices. With GPT-Live's full duplex voice interactions, the rigid, clunky assistants of the past are pretty much gone.
Yeah, they're being replaced by seamless, natural-sounding conversationalists that handle complex logic quietly in the background. It's really blurring the line between tool and companion.
But hanging over all of this innovation is the reality of geopolitical walls.
Right. The specific AI tools you are legally allowed to use at the office, or the open-weight models your IT team relies on to keep their budgets balanced, well, they might soon be dictated by international borders.
Which leaves us with a really compelling thought to chew on as we head into the rest of the week.
Yeah, let's hear it.
As AI becomes drastically cheaper to run and sounds more intimately human than ever before, will the biggest hurdle to adopting it in our daily lives be the technological limits or the geopolitical borders being drawn around the servers?
We're here to help at Snurfle, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarfle.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.